Grand Rising. Jeremiah 16:19. When all the Gentiles are going to come to the Most High and say that their fathers have inherited lies. That is the ultimate buyer's remorse. When the world has to come to the Most High and admit that their fathers have inherited lies. Now you're starting to see the beginning of this whole epidemic of pretty much 90% of the world is going to be in that situation. They're going to be in a situation where they're going to have to admit that their fathers have inherited lies, and they pass those things down from generation to generation. Now, like on my TikTok, I'm going to play a couple of videos. You're going to see a lot of women from a lot of these other nations are admitting that, you know, they're regretting marrying Europeans. They're regretting marrying white men. All of a sudden, all these different groups are like anti-white all of a sudden. Now, it's funny because you guys are just making a couple of videos here and there, but that's just the beginning of Jeremiah 16 and 19. See, these people, your parents and grandparents and great-grandparents made this deal. They made the deal that you got to hate so-called black people and keep them at the bottom. And if you wanted to move up in society, you would have to marry a white man. That's the way that's always been. And now at the end, the Most High is putting it on these other nations to start to admit the truth. Now, in this system, you know, if you married within your race, you pretty much stayed even. You stayed in the middle, right? So if Mexicans married Mexicans, Brazilians married Brazilians, right? Whites were already on top, so whites married white, kept them on top. Blacks were at the bottom. If blacks married blacks, they stay at the bottom. So Asians married Asians, stay in the middle. As soon as when you decide, that's why your mothers told you guys, you women, if you want to move up, you have to marry a white man. That was actually something that was already shown, that was already ingrained in people in all different ethnic groups, even our own, right? So that's why you see all these people that were trying to go, no matter what the white man did, they would go with them, they would marry them, and think they were moving up in society. And again, the other one, was if you married a black person, you went down in society. That's why your mothers told you don't be marrying, any black guys. Don't be bringing no black men here, right? That was the opposite. If you wanted to, go up in society, if you wanted to, get up to the top of the mountain, you'd marry a white man. If you wanted to go to the bottom and be at the base, you'd marry a black man. And, pretty much if you wanted to go into these curses while the black man's going through his curses, go ahead and join with him because he's cursed right now. So if you want to go in his curses with him, you'd go with him. If you wanted to experience these blessings of this time, you would go with a white man. And that's exactly what this whole society has been set upon, and your great-parents, great-grandparents, your grandparents, your parents, they all pushed that same narrative for the most part. We already know that, okay? But now all of a sudden there's a switch going on, and a lot of these people are now admitting, that was the wrong choice. That was the wrong choice because the Bible tells you the first will be last and the last will be first. And that is what you're seeing going on right now. We are already the head. The people that were at the head are now the tails. All right, they're the tail. And now you're starting to see people who are in the middle making videos expressing that. Say they've already known, right? But now the Most High is making them make videos showing you who's the head and who's the tail. Check out a couple of these videos.
While we're on that topic, right? Like, I'm speaking to black people. So when you see Asian people in your comment sections and they're like, yeah, that part of the Asian community are the ones who are anti-black. My community is not like that at all. They're fucking lying to you. Okay? There's anti-blackness in the East Asian community, the Southeast Asian community, the Central Asian community, the West Asian community, the North Asian community, and the South Asian communities, okay? And the people who are pointing fingers at the other people are the type of people who refuse to acknowledge it and unpack it within themselves. Like, they don't know how to look within themselves and be like, look, it's our entire community, not just like that part of the community. And it's really annoying, it's really annoying. So if you guys want more tea, let me know. While we're on that topic.
So, like I said, it's all groups. We have no allies. We haven't had any, but now they're admitting the truth. Again, it's Jeremiah 16 and 19. That's what this is all about. You know, coming and admitting that their fathers have inherited lies. They inherited the lies because they made the covenant. Here's some more.
I know this is going to sound really mean, but I don't really give a flying fuck what white people say. I don't. I really don't. They can come at me with their version of history and their version of the truth. I don't give a flying fuck. I don't give it a second thought. I don't give a good goddamn, because I know that the history started with diseased fucking colonizers. What trips me out are the lambisconas.
Bootlickers.
The Mexicans that think that their proximity to whiteness is going to save them because they like to suck the dick of white supremacy. That's what trips me out, and it fucking grosses me out. You are the weakest motherfucking link, and I can say that because I used to be the token brown friend. The token brown friend. People would say, I'm not racist, I have a brown friend. She's right there. And then around me would say the most racist fucking shit and take me to a fucking bar in Minnesota that had a border patrol truck outside. I used to be the token brown friend. And they would say the stupidest fucked up shit because they were like, she's cool, she's not racist, she's cool, she's not gonna say nothing, because they were being racist. It literally is sucking the dick of white supremacy, and it's disgusting. And it makes you the weakest fucking link. You are the weakest fucking link.
So again, plenty of people sitting here now and just switching their tune all of a sudden. Switching the tune all of a sudden. Check this out. Brother sent me this video of this Asian thinking that black people now should become Buddhists. Thank you again, Brother Moriel.
We need more black Buddhists in this universe. I truly believe this is the primary message of why I was sent here to this timeline to say these words with this face and this language without an accent. The reality is that Buddhism has been co-opted to bypass white guilt, shame, accountability upon its history, within the karma, the mark, the scars upon humanity, about the karma that is currently also written within the potential energy of the universe. And it's really important for us to remember that just like Judaism, these spiritual systems, these spiritual technologies can be co-opted to perpetuate genocide and violence, especially when these things have been so white-faced in history silently. In America, it's totally inverted to its true potential in nature. The reality is that within Buddhism, it talks about how suffering is the origin of awakening, and how if we really acknowledge this, if we were to really examine and to isolate the lived experiences, the lived realities of these spiritual systems, we would see immediately that Africans, Black Americans primarily have an accelerated relationship, already uncovered this potential energy that's just waiting to connect to the circuitry of Buddhism within the universe, within potentially.
So as you can see, the Most High has put in all these different groups to start to admit the truth. People are starting to admit the truth about what has been going on. Who are the ones that had this whole victim Olympics plays into the whole part of the Most High said that his people are going to suffer the most. So of course the other nations don't want to have that discussion about who has suffered the most. When you go to Daniel 9:11, it talks about how, the Israelites are going to suffer the most. So if you do have to have a victims Olympics, because you have all these other people trying to co-opt our suffering, as if, like when they say, well, everybody's been enslaved. Every country's done what was done here. Everybody's done it. No, they haven't. I said, no one has dealt with chattel slavery. No one has been enslaved from generation to generation. The vast majority of time people were enslaved, it was to pay a debt, or it was for a certain amount of time, or something like that. It wasn't from, well, your children are going to be enslaved, and then their children's going to be enslaved, and then there's children are going to be enslaved. For generation after generation, for hundreds of years. When does that happen to anyone else? So see, eventually, the Most High is going to bring all of these things out. He's going to bring that out as well. So yes, he's starting to show you that, a lot of these people are starting to realize that their grandparents and their parents and great-grandparents made the wrong choice. And now you are stuck here to pay the price. That is where we are right now. Be on the lookout for a live later on today. I'm going to try to set up one to go live later on today. Much love, family. Shalom.